Welcome back. This is Michael from Gredio. In the first course, you learned about the basics of pricing, and then we're just going to hop right into three really important pricing mistakes that a lot of startup food entrepreneurs make. I made them in my first company when I made cookies, and I made them, unfortunately, again in my second company when I made energy bars. So let's just get right to it. So just to set the scene, I want to use an example for this class. You make 3 amazing fudge sauces, and you produce them yourself in a rented kitchen for $30 an hour. And I included Harold's Hot Fudge. It's a really delicious fudge sauce out of Northampton, Massachusetts. They also make their own sprinkles. You should really go and check it out. But let's continue here. So the 3 mistakes that food producers make. 1, you don't count the labor in your product cost. 2, you don't price in a distributor or a broker, even though you may not have one. And 3, you don't price for your highest cost product. So let's take a look at all 3 of those. So here's an example of not counting labor. Labor isn't free. You have to add it into your product cost. Even you as labor, while it may initially be free, you're not paying yourself. You would imagine that to be a successful food company, you would pull yourself out of making your own product so that you can work on your business, not in your business. So here's an example that I set out without the labor. So you've got the same ingredient cost, you've got the same packaging cost, you have your per unit cost for rental, and then you have a total cost without labor on the left of $1.75. If you price that into a retailer and then the price on the shelf, this is assuming you're just getting started, your price on the shelf is $7.30. Now, if you add in your actual labor, assuming on the bottom there that 600 jars are produced in 8 hours just with you, and you pay yourself $20 an hour, your labor cost is 27 cents a unit, which increases your product cost 37 cents. And your price to your retailer goes from $7.30 up to $8.83. So really you're talking, a $6.99 product going all the way up to $8.99. So a $2 difference when you don't include the labor, which is most of the time in the beginning you. So make sure to quote unquote pay yourself, even though you may not actually be paying yourself. Mistake number 2 is not including a distributor. You might not have one, you might never have one. But if you do have one, you should price the distributor into your margin so that when you get one, your margins don't shrink, your price doesn't increase on the shelf. So let's go ahead and take a look at this example here. You've got a product cost of $2.12. We took that from the last slide. And without a distributor, you go right to the retailer and then ultimately to the customer, and you hit the $6.99 price point, which is what we were talking about earlier. With the distributor, you add in their margin and you still get to $6.99 on the shelf. And your pricing ultimately should be on the right here. Your product cost is $2.12. You add in the distributor, so you're getting the 50% margin. $4.24 goes to the retailer, goes to the customer, and you're back at $9.99. So again, as we noticed in the last slide, you had product that was $6.99, and when you incorporate a distributor to keep that same shelf price, your profit per unit is 85 cents. But when you actually include the distributor into your margins and you sell the product for what it should sell for at $9.99, your profit per unit is $2.12, and you keep making money. The third is, just to make a point here before we get to the third point, is that many brokers take 3 to 8% of the sales that they make. They have a monthly brokerage fee, and they're covered in another Food Business Academy course that I'll cover later on. But you can incorporate the broker's percentage into your margins. If your margins are higher, maybe they're 40 to 60%, they take the 3 to 8% and make your money up on volume because the broker moves a little bit more volume than you probably would. So I just wanted to mention that quick fact about brokers that weren't included in that last example. And then we've got pricing for your highest cost product. Ultimately, if one product costs more to produce, get rid of it or price it into your profitability. So there's a lot of food manufacturers who, maybe they have varying price points. Something hits the shelf at $6.99, something's at $8.99, something's at $7.99. It's really confusing to the customer. And while it may cost a little bit more, just price it in for your highest priced product that costs you the most to make, so that you may make a little bit less profit on that high item and a little bit more profit on your lower priced items. So here's an example here. We have the 3 fudge sauces, 1, 2, and 3, different product costs, but you should be pricing for product number 3 because you get the highest margin. You get $2.12 on the right, $2.36, and $2.57. So you make a lot of money, especially on a 12 product or 12 item case. So why does this all make a difference? The 3 really big mistakes, but ultimately pricing is going to make or break your company. You might launch a product that's $15, but no one's going to buy it unless it's at $5. So you're not going to get anywhere if the product's not moving off the shelf. So that's why it's super crucial to nail your pricing right out of the gate, right at the very beginning. And yes, you may be able to sell a higher priced product when you're not making as much product, but when you are making a lot of product and you price for those higher margins, you're able to generate a bigger margin when you're producing at scale for less cost per unit. And it ultimately makes your less expensive products more profitable. So we have, a couple products that are significantly less to produce than our higher priced products. So we price for the higher priced product and we sell a little bit less of a cheaper product, but we make a lot more profit. So it all balances out. So that's why it's super important. Get your pricing right out of the gate and you'll be super successful. And coming up next is how to do all of the math. So all the cost of goods sold math, figuring out if you're holding a jar or a tub of your product in your hand, how much does this cost me to make? We're going to go through all that next.